Let's talk Facebook, shall we? Its CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, is expected to testify to the United States lawmakers today. Now, this comes after the company was hit by a huge controversy. 87 million Facebook users' information was used and improperly shared with Cambridge Analytica, a London-based voter analytics group that worked for US President Donald Trump's presidential campaign. Let's talk a little bit more about this. And joining us via Skype, we've got Kelvin Dark. He's the founder and president of CD Global Strategies Group in Washington, D.C., that, of course, being the capital of the United States. Good to have you, Kelvin. Thanks so much for chatting to us here on Morning Live in South Africa.
Glad to be here. Good morning, Leanne. So
Facebook really facing criticism on how it dealt with the personal and very sensitive information. I mean, Facebook has everything that, we have about our lives there in its possession. Of 87 million users, how did this all begin? Why is it so significant?
Well, it's significant for several reasons. One is on the point you made about Facebook knowing everything. I would advise everybody listening to do one of the things that Facebook has improved over the last few weeks, and that's make it easier to know what Facebook has and download your information file. I did. It takes a while, and Facebook reminded me of things that I had long forgotten. But now, as far as the testimony goes today, it's important for two reasons. One is this is a very important midterm election year here in the United States. So we're still trying to figure out what happened during the 2016 presidential election. And there are fears on both sides of the political aisle that something will happen in this election that will cause the voters to distrust it. Yeah. And it's also important because this is the last high-profile televised event where most of these members of Congress who are running for office get to show that they're passionate about something that all of their voters know about. So you're going to see all the personalities, all the drama, all the memes and hashtags, and fittingly, it's going to be shared on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's an absolute fact. I mean, when we talk about 87 million users, who are they? Is it just every normal person out there? Is it particularly those that are affiliated in some way to the people that downloaded that particular app from Cambridge Analytica? Or talk to us about the users' information that's been used.
Well, I think that's a very interesting question because on the surface, it would seem the technical link is that the friends or associates of those who downloaded or used the app, the personality quiz, from Cambridge researchers as they build themselves, that they would be affected. But what I find really interesting is Mark Zuckerberg, in his kind of pre-meetings today, said that Facebook's original goal was to connect people. And if you think about it, I, myself, and I'm sure you and other people who use Facebook can say the same, I'm connected with people all over the world, and sometimes it's went to school with them. Sometimes it's people I met on vacation. Sometimes it's people that I work with. So while it's true that it started from those people that took that initial quiz, you never know how people are connected.
Yeah,
so it could be anyone, essentially.
That's the reality, because I know here in South Africa, it was uncovered yesterday that just 33 people downloaded that specific app you're speaking about. But from those 33 people, 60,000 South Africans' personal information was a part of the 87 million people due to the fact of the links from 33 people who were friends with friends who were friends and colleagues all over the world. I mean, this is how Facebook connects the world. I mean, surely this has raised some questions as to how we use this social network these days. I mean, have people become a little bit more sensitive as to what they share, or are people still oblivious and decide to share whatever they want to?
Well, we've been having that debate here, and what I think is going to be interesting with the testimony is that you're dealing with people in Congress. Some are very tech savvy, former Silicon Valley leaders, and then some who know nothing about the tech world, but everybody knows Facebook. Yeah. And what I think people are going to realize is that I think we all thought that somehow, somewhere, Facebook or somebody was keeping our data. And I know for myself, I didn't take it that seriously. But when I downloaded my data and actually saw that it had where I logged into Facebook every time I've logged in for the last 8 years, it really made me think about what I put on the platform. And so I think beyond the laws or regulatory reforms or whatever Facebook does, I think it's at least going to make everybody think twice about that post, that picture, that tag.
I do hope so. Listen, Kelvin, I'm sorry, but we need to wrap this up. So I'm going to ask you one final question. I mean, when you look at the likes of a Mark Zuckerberg, I mean, he has now turned, he's not just the CEO of a company anymore, of a tech company. He is somewhat of he's turned into a global leader. I mean, he is the leader of 2.2 billion people that are a part of Facebook. Surely there has to be more regulations put out there. It can't be as free as it has been operating, social media platforms.
That is true. And I think that the true test will be whether or not Congress, that they'll follow the lead of, say, Europe and other countries and areas in the world, if they will let Facebook police itself, which in the past hasn't worked, or if they will issue regulations. But the reality is this is a new terrain because it's a utility in a sense, but it's also, voluntary, and there's really no other competition. So it'll be interesting to see the balance between what governments try to step in and do and what Facebook will do proactively so they can keep the government out of their business.
Let's leave it there. Thank you so very, very much for talking to us, Kelvin Dart, founder and president of CD Global Strategies Group in Washington, D.C., talking to us about Mark Zuckerberg, who, by the way, has said he's definitely not resigning. So he's not going anywhere, but it'll be interesting to see what he says today to Congress.